What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I originally was not going to do the show today because the Bucks broke my heart. Kevin Durant broke my spirit, but I got a good night's sleep and I got a great guest to lift my spirits and give me some hope going in tonight. Title, how are we doing today?
Yeah, it's good. I saw yesterday your tweet that you weren't going to do the rundown today, and I didn't get a message asking if I was good. So I assumed you're a little disappointed, as was I. I mean, we'll talk about it, but what a collapse by the Bucks. That was awful, but it was also one of the best performances we'll see in the NBA playoffs. So shout out to KD. What a show that was. Unfortunately, the Bucks just didn't have the answers. And that's part of the reason. Unfortunately, I was on the Nets earlier in the series. I mean, we just don't have a coach that knows how to coach basketball. Ball gets stagnant. The offense just slows down. It was very, very disappointing. A tale of two halves for sure. But hey, I mean, the series isn't over till a road team takes one, and that's kind of where we are right now. So it should be fun today for sure.
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. And I'll tell you what, this kind of moves into what we're going to talk about first tonight, and that's the Sixers game. And I'll tell you one thing that made me feel better. The Sixers collapse was worse than the Bucks. I mean, you can't tell me it wasn't. Number one, the Bucks lost to an all-time performance, okay? And you know me, I'm real hesitant when we start throwing out these superlatives because I'm saying, hey guys, we don't remember. You guys are discounting the 80s. You're discounting the 90s. Okay, I started watching playoff basketball probably 85. Okay, one of the best performances I've ever seen. No hyperbole. We lost to an all-time performance there as the Bucks. Jeff Green obviously chipped in there, right? And so now let's go ahead and look at the Sixers. What happened there? I mean, as bad as I was feeling for myself, I have friends in Philadelphia, friends that are Sixers fans. I felt even worse for them. What happened to the Philadelphia 76ers last night, and where does the series go from here?
Yeah, I mean, what a game that was. To be honest, for once, I was watching more baseball than basketball in the second half because I thought it was over. I
I
mean,
did too.
so I literally just started tuning. I mean, I had it in the background. I was looking over occasionally, and it was still 20-point lead, blah, blah, blah. And it just eventually I just keep looking over, and it's 16, 14, 12. And then I just like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? And at the end of the day, I mean, I saw it was Seth Curry and Joel Embiid were the only two with field goals in the second half.
Yeah.
That number is insane. I mean, obviously, I don't think a Ben Simmons led team can win it all. I've been saying that. He just can't. I mean, unfortunately, he needs to develop some sort of jump shot, some sort of something. But Tobias Harris, I mean, he can't not score a field goal. He needs to be way better for that team. And at the end of the day, I mean, as much as I hated on Gallo in Series 1, he really stepped up. Lou Williams gave him a big boost off the bench, which we know he's capable of when he gets the minutes. And they did all that with Bogdanovich playing an worst game of the series in foul trouble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what a game that was. I don't even know how that happened. I still don't know how that happened. Joel Embiid could get whatever he wanted pretty much all game. But two people scoring a field goal in the whole second half, you just can't get it done. What a comeback. What a collapse. I don't know which one was more impressive, the comeback or the collapse. I mean, what are your thoughts on it? Because I was in shock. Like I said, I didn't even watch it really, really closely in the third quarter until like 1 minute left because I was like, wow, I thought it was over.
Yeah, I mean, so I was on Keg Live. I was planning on going there the whole night, and then of course I'm, not the most dexterous person. So I moved a washing machine to my girlfriend's house, and I had like messed it up in the move. So she calls me like really upset that the washing machine that we need is broken. So I said, you know what? She's really upset. Even if we don't fix it, I need to go over there and at least calm her down
Yeah.
and let her know, because she's, I mean, she's, and I can understand, right? Like, so we need clean clothes. So I left at halftime, and I'm sitting there checking the score, and around, the middle of the fourth, I'm like, I got to see this. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to get
Yeah.
back to my house because we have TNT over here, and we only live real close. But I couldn't believe it. I jumped off Keg Show just because I thought it was done, and I didn't think we are going to be able to do any live betting. So, I didn't expect it either. Now let's look ahead for Game 6. Are you surprised that the Hawks are underdogs on Bookmaker right now? +2.5 for the Hawks, +134. I kind of think the Hawks get it done here. Do you think that Philadelphia gets it done in Game 6?
This has been the one series that I haven't bet any game at all, and I'm really happy I haven't. I haven't had a good read. I mean, Joel Embiid's the best player on the court. I mean, Trae Young, I mean, he's been very, very good, but Joel Embiid just by far the most dominant. How healthy he was, I mean, you can tell. Like some games and at some times he looks really healthy, even though obviously he's battling injuries. But then sometimes you see him take a fall or he goes back to the locker room in Game 4, and then you know that he's not fully healthy. At the end of the day, I think the 76ers are the better team overall. They can run their offense through Joel Embiid, and they stick to what works, which they do that a lot. I don't know. -3 though, that number is more than I thought going on the road. I'm going to continue not to bet it. I do still think the 76ers do win and push it to a Game 7. And I even think the 76ers, what's the line for Sixers in the series? Let's see. +130. I don't think there's enough value on that, but I still do think the 76ers are able to get it done. I don't think Tobias is going to play as bad as he did last game. I mean, he can't play as bad as he did, but spread, this is why we bet on Embiid over in points, not 76ers.
Travis had it perfect yesterday. So
yep. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had the greatest take on this series. I've just been enjoying watching what Trae Young's done. But at the end of the day, I do think the 76ers come back in Game 6. They get it done. They bring it home, and I think they close it out. But +130, there's not enough value on that to win 2 games in a row.
Yeah, and here's my issue with the Sixers. They kind of remind me of like a boxer who just has like a right hand, and that's in.
Yeah.
One.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
almost like the Hawks have more things they can go to. If Embiid's not 100%, if he's not dropping 35, like how do they win this game?
Yeah, and they need Tobias. And the thing is, like, I've been a Tobias guy. I think Tobias Harris is a good basketball player, and he's shown during the regular season stuff too. When Embiid is out, he can be that guy. Obviously, playoff basketball and stuff's different. I don't expect him to play as bad as he did. Simmons, on the other hand, I'm not a Simmons guy. You can go to the hack of Simmons at the end of the game, which definitely is a problem for their team too. You got to take him off the court. Another thing is Danny Green means a lot more to this team than I think people realize. His three-point shooting, his defense, his toughness. And without him, I mean, I love Matisse Thybulle, but he can't play off. I mean, he's such a liability on the offensive end. He can't shoot threes. I mean, he can play defense, but that's about it. They just don't have that other scorer if Tobias isn't there. Seth Curry's been awesome this series for sure, though. But him and Embiid can't do it by themselves in the second half, only once making field goals. So I don't know. I'm on the 76ers still. I'm not going to bet it. I'm going to continue staying off this game. I think the winner of the Bucks Nets series takes care of one of these two teams and goes to the championship. But yeah, I'm just going to continue to enjoy it. I mean, Trae Young, I love seeing what he does. He's just a good guy. He's humble. He's playing really good basketball. It's fun to watch. So I'm cheering for the Hawks, but I do think the 76ers do get Game 3. -3 though, I am surprised, like you said. That number, I mean, I'm surprised today with the Bucks being -6 too. Feels a little much, but I mean, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
I'm surprised too. I thought it was going to be a pick. I'm really surprised there. I guess it's close enough to where I don't know how many times it lands there, especially with the amount of fouls that we'll get at the end of the game. So it'd really have to come down for you to take Atlanta and to win the bet without them winning the game. I mean, it would have to come down to the game is within 2 with less than 20 seconds. So maybe that's a little bit, and they're just basically trying to mitigate money line liability, as in they can't put up a -140 money line and then a pick. You know what I'm saying? So that would be my guess here. On Danny Green, right? Is he the anti-DFS player? Not good stats, not good eye test. Seems to always be on winning teams.
Yeah, no, you need players like that. I mean, you don't play him. I mean, I actually played him more in the playoffs than usual in DFS just because he was so cheap on FanDuel and small forward was always so bad. But I mean, you couldn't have said any better. He plays defense, he brings toughness, he hits the open three, but DFS wise, he's definitely not the most flashy player out there. But you need guys like that. I mean, he's a knockoff, a Dollar Tree version of Jay Crowder is how I look at it. You need a Jay Crowder on your team. Jay Crowder is a lot better than Danny Green, knocks a 3-ball down better defensively. I mean, plays bigger, but you need guys on your team that do stuff like that and don't need to have the ball in their hand constantly. So he's a big part of the 76ers team for sure.
Yeah, I think that a lot of like box score and only watching the ball is what would make you think that Danny Green's not a good player, right?
Yeah.
You're looking at the box score. Oh, he went 1 from 5 for 3. You're only watching the ball, so you're not seeing all the stuff that he does on the defensive end when his players not getting the ball because he's denying him the ball. Right?
Yep.
I mean, there's just so many things that he's doing that we can't quantify. And I'll bet you within 10 years, like Ethan Strauss and Seth Partnow and all these analytics guys will figure out some way to quantify it. But right now, we can't quantify how much he means to this team. But at the same time, it's an indictment of your superstars if Danny Green going down is the reason you lose, right? Look at Durant. No Kyrie, no problem. Harden limping around, being a liability on the court almost. I mean, other than his passing, he didn't add a lot to that team. Kevin Durant, that's fine. That's fine. No, go ahead. Give me Landry Shamet. That's fine. No, Jeff Green, I can make him a star. Right? I mean, so
are you finally up? So when I say best scorer to walk this planet, obviously I didn't watch MJ in his prime. I didn't do all that. It's just from this guy is 7 feet, and you just don't see flaws in his game. Or, I mean, best scorer in the NBA right now.
I'll just give you right now, and I don't want. We'll do generational in the offseason. Okay,
fair enough. But right now he is the best player in the NBA.
I'd say for the last 5 years he's been the best scorer in the NBA. It's him or Steph.
Yep. So absolutely. His performance. We'll get to that in this game too. It's just, can he do it by himself? People always said KD can't do it by himself. All that. He did it by himself in Game 5. I mean, not. Obviously, you have Jeff Green and you have other players. You got to have other players make some type of shots. But at the end of the day, I mean, Harden wasn't anything like Harden. I think he hurt the team, like you said. He took the ball.
He should have hurt them more. If the Bucks had a real coach, he wouldn't have been out. He would have got played off the floor. Like how are coaches figuring out that you can't play like Martin Gortat and Zubac, right? But then we got a guy out here limping and we're not attacking him. It's just so weird.
And I mean, we'll get Brooke Lopez playing 36 minutes is the most tilting thing I've ever seen. I mean, they just went to the pick and roll.
Bobby Portis getting 0.
That's what I was going to ask you.
You're getting smacked in the mouth, and you don't bring your one guy that actually smacks people in the mouth in the game.
I was saying that from the first quarter. I'm like, where's Bobby Portis? Where's Bobby? Because Brooke Lopez can't. I mean, we said in the beginning he can't play in this series. Okay, they just literally went to the pick and roll. Brooke Lopez dropped off. And Kevin Durant's going to hit it over him or attack him to the rim every time. And that's what he did. I do not know why Bobby Portis didn't play. I still don't know why he didn't play. I had him in DFS and Showdown too. I mean, that was the last thing I expected was him to be a do not play. I still don't know. I don't know what to expect today because of that. I didn't hear any news. I was wondering if you did.
I didn't. It didn't even mention it. It didn't even mention it. It's just just so many mistakes.
Mango, and I see you're in chat. You're the press conference guy. Did anyone ask Bud at the press conference about Bobby Portis? And if so, did he have an answer? Because I didn't see anything on Twitter either. Mangone's our only option. He's a press conference guy. And someone, I hope, did their job and asked him that question.
All right, let's talk about what West Coast says. And we're all over the place today. We're not really sticking to the schedule we set beforehand, but it's fun. We got a bunch of viewers here, guys. Hey, hit the like button, subscribe, and let's keep going, having some basketball talk. You know, this is kind of an impromptu show. I wasn't even planning on doing it, but we had to get this stuff out of here. West Coast says, stop it. No Harden, they get blown out. This team ain't better with Mike James. Y'all tripping. He helped on the offensive end. His passing was fantastic, and he did provide gravity, even though he's missing all those threes. And I don't think he misses those threes tonight. So,
yeah, I mean, I hear what you. I mean, it just sounds dumb saying you're better with Mike James than Harden. In that game, though, anytime Harden shot the ball, that means KD wasn't shooting the ball. They weren't all open looks. I mean, there were Harden step backs, which he can get. Mm-hmm. He just wasn't in sync. I mean, you could tell right away in the beginning of the game, though, when he turned his back and KD passed it to him and he just wasn't out there. But the Bucks didn't attack him on the defensive end. I mean, they let him play post defense. And that's one thing where Harden's actually pretty good is down low. He didn't have to move his feet as much. The one time they did attack him, Giannis just went right by him. So, yeah, they're not better with Mike James over Harden, but that's the worst Harden you'll see. And the Bucks lost. So that's not very encouraging.
He has to be better tonight, right? I mean,
he can't be worse. He literally probably, I mean, I don't see how he could play a worse game than he did.
And you could tell he was hurting because he started looking for more and more of those like theatrical passes, right, to really get the team going. And to me, that's smart because he's saying, I can't beat people off the dribble. My shot's not falling. I got to do something. And I'm not defending. I got to do something to get this team going. What better? I mean, you've been out there, right? You know the feeling. It's a little different between a guy just hitting a nice jumper and the ball goes around, beautiful passes, and then you get the layup as a team and you're all running back, feeling in sync on defense. And I thought he did a great job here, right? People want to criticize him for being selfish. I thought that showed excellent basketball IQ, excellent basketball awareness, rather than forcing it, as in Giannis forcing it, where it's like, oh, well, hey, we want you to take these threes. Oh, okay, I'll just do what you guys want, right? I mean, this isn't the NFL. We don't take what the defense gives us.
No.
In the NBA, your offense should be dictating the matchups that you want to exploit, and Giannis shooting open threes is not the matchup you want to exploit. And how they were not targeting hard in there, it was just coaching malpractice. And I don't even know what to say about this guy. I mean,
you've been calling for it.
He could win the title and still should be fired.
Oh, 100%. There's no way he should. It just like Brook Lopez playing 36. I mean, on the offensive end, he's not even posting up a smaller defender. He's sitting at the 3-point line. He's not getting offensive rebounds, which, I mean, that's the one reason you think
you would have him in there.
Yeah. Exactly. Because on defense, he's too slow to move his feet. Kevin Durant, they pick and roll every time. Kevin Durant is either going to pull up if he's too far off or he's going to go by him. And Brook Lopez just fouls him every time. Then he acts like he didn't foul him and he was straight up and complains. And it's just, he's worthless out there. And it just, I don't know how Coach Bud doesn't see it when everyone else does see it.
I mean, the year's 2021. We don't run our offenses through the post anymore.
Yeah.
All the best teams go small when the game matters, right?
Yep.
This has happened since 2015. Draymond Green, Steve Kerr, they revolutionized the game. And this is great because we're going to go back to this game, but let's use this to transition into the game. And the other thing that completely shocked me last night, I thought the Clippers were done. I said on this show yesterday, even if Paul George drops 35 and 15, they lose by 15. Wrong. Marcus Morris stepped up. When did Reggie Jackson get good? This is unbelievable.
He had a couple, yeah. I mean, in Detroit, you could say there was stints, but he was never like this.
No, he was so inconsistent. He would always shoot you out of the game. Always. Yep. He'd hit a couple, and you'd be like, "Oh no, now he's not going to stop." So, but let's talk about it. The small ball lineup was very effective against Rudy Gobert. Batum at center was the way to go. And we talked about it with the Bucks here. Let's go ahead and talk about it. The Jazz. Why are they not attacking the small ball lineup? I mean, if Rudy's, what was he, third? That means third team All NBA. That says to me he's the top 15 player in the NBA, and he can't beat a guy who's 6'8". I mean, what's going on here? What did you see in that game?
Well, I will say, I mean, I think he's more of a regular season player than he is a playoff. I don't think he's a top 15 guy in the NBA. And I know the stats in the regular season. I think he's just an overrated basketball player at the end of the day. And it's kind of showing in this series. He's not posting up and making a one-on-one move against a way smaller defender in Batum or Morris, whoever they have out there.
That's ridiculous.
So his only offense is an offensive rebound and putback, which, I mean, we saw he went on a little stretch where he got like 3 offensive rebounds and putbacks in a row, which is big, but they have to land in the right spot for him. And on defense, they're them playing small. They're forcing him out in the 3-point line. And he's struggling. And, I mean, Paul George, all the hate he gets, and, I mean, rightfully so, he struggled at a lot of times in the playoffs. But what a performance that was. He was the best player on the court, and Marcus Morris showed up, makes big-time shots. And a big part of this team, too, Terrence Mann is a good basketball player. I mean, his plus-minus is crazy. He's a winning basketball player out there. He plays defense. He can knock some open shots down, but he attacks. He makes the right play. Their supporting cast is just they're playing the right way. Reggie Jackson, Pat Bev. I'm not a big Pat Bev guy, but he came in and gave him tons of energy on the defensive end, made open shots, made the right play. I'm not saying that I don't know if they're going to win this series. I still think at the end of the day, Utah is the better team overall. I think Donovan Mitchell, he settled too much yesterday. At the end of the day, he didn't attack as much. Jordan Clarkson, he settled a lot. Bogdanovich, he played a great game, and they still lost. So I see it's -2. I'm still on Utah -2. I probably will bet it. I think they are the better team at the end of the day. They'll make some adjustments. But, yeah, I mean, what a performance that was by Paul George and the supporting cast, Reggie Jackson, Terrence Mann, Marcus Morris. They played a really good game.
All right, two points to take away off what you said. Donovan Mitchell was settling, and you know
Yeah.
why? Because he's playing on a sprained ankle, and Quinn Snyder should have pulled him in Game 4.
Yeah.
They,
I
they they had lost that game. Why did you give him 40 minutes? He's on a bum ankle. This isn't like just just unbelievable. And now you're watching him every single time he goes to the hoop. He walks back limping,
yeah.
especially when he gets fouled. Right? Watch him walk to the foul line. Guy's not 100%. He's their whole offense without Conley. So we have that going for us. If you want, so here's if I want to do first take and you give me a side. Okay, let's say you gave me the Clipper side. That's what I'd say. Now let's say you give me the Jazz side, right? And I get to be Shannon Sharp. I'm going to say this: Paul George hasn't shown he can do it when the pressure's on. There was no pressure on him yesterday, right? There's no pressure.
Yeah.
We had all written that series off as over, right? We'd all said it's over. Yesterday Tyler and I were doing Utah Phoenix previews on this show yesterday, right? And we were going over the matchups because that's how much we thought it was over. So then he drops 37-15 in a game where we didn't expect a lot from him, and the spotlight wasn't on. Now that he's proven he's going to do it, now he's at home. Now the pressure is going to be on. Will he be able to handle it? He has had problems in these situations in the past here. So I think it's a really tough one to call. I do agree with you that the Jazz are the better team. I just worry that without Donovan, they can't get their offense going. They're not exploiting the mismatches, whether it's because they're not doing it or they simply can't. Maybe Quinn knows. Hey, I've seen Rudy in the post. He can't even beat Derek Favors in practice. Why am I going to have him go against Marcus Morris? Right? I mean, a lot of times these guys they're hiding some of their strengths, and we say, well, why don't you post up Rudy? Maybe he knows. Like it's just not going to work. So I think it's a really tough series to call. We will be back tomorrow with AP, and we'll go down with it for sure. But I'll tell you what.
Mike Conley also is a big thing. I don't know if he comes back. I mean, I know it's do or die. I mean, we saw Harden come back. I don't know. Mike Conley definitely has to be hurt if he hasn't came back yet this series, but he's big for that team in the pick and roll. He makes Gobert a lot better, but he allows D. Mitch to play off the ball more.
Yep.
And then they can swing it to Ingles or Bogdanovich or Clarkson for more open looks. He's a really big part of that team. And I don't know if he comes back or not.
Because it weakens the bench so much too. It just weakens the bench. The guys that Jordan Clarkson are trying to score with is just not the same. So we'll be back with a full breakdown, and we'll give a pick now. I'm still kind of reeling from that, like as far as it didn't hurt me emotionally. I wasn't really invested in the game, but I couldn't believe it. I'm like, no way, the Clippers are playing this good. Like JSU and I both had thought like Utah's going to win by 15. I said Paul George going to drop 35 and 15. They still lose by 15. Wow, give credit to the Clippers role players for stepping up. And I know we've been all over the place, but let's go back into tonight. I guess we'll start with the total before we give our picks on the game. The total is 220. Every single game's gone under so far. What do you think?
Man, yeah. So this series, game one was 244 or 243 or something, right? And now it's 220. I mean, that's just crazy how different the series shifts. And I mean, a lot of it I think has to do with how the refs have been letting them play. They're letting them get up and play really physical basketball on Kevin Durant, especially in Milwaukee. They're letting PJ Tucker, which the Bucks need, to play very physical and make KD's life very tough. If Harden, obviously, he's not fully healthy, so he's going to rely more on threes. Can Jeff Green go 6 for 7 or 7 for 8 or whatever he was again? I'd bet that he doesn't do that. 220, though, I'm not going to bet that the over-under on that. If I had to lean something, I'd probably lean under because I think it's going to be another very physical game. Not too many fouls called and more defensive, but, I mean, it opened up at 244 with game one, and now it's 220. That just show. I mean, it's still the same two teams, obviously Kyrie, Harden, but I don't know. I'm not betting the over under. I think it's pretty much right. I think it's going to be defensive game though. Whistles aren't going to be. They're not going to be a lot of them. I think it's the same as it has been game 3, game 4 in Milwaukee where they let them play. So I lean the under, but I mean 111, 110, the game goes over. These two teams can put the ball in the hoop. So I don't know. Do you have a lean on that? Because I'm all over the place with that.
I lean under. I think he continues, and you just made the point. Everyone goes, "Oh, these teams score so much during the regular season," and this is another weird thing. And since we're just talking basketball today, I mean, what other sport do we just change the rules in the postseason?
Yeah,
I mean, it's just nuts. It's not crazy. Like the strike zone changes in baseball, right? It's not like tennis players get to Wimbledon and there's different sets of lines. It's just nuts that it's like, oh, well, that's playoff basketball. So the same fouls that we've called all year that we spent 72 to 82 games conditioning ourselves to know this is a foul is no longer a foul. It's just weird to me. I personally like the more physical ball. Makes the games quicker. I
I
mean,
was gonna say, like, it's crazy. There's no other sport that's like this at all. But at the end of the day, I don't think you can play this physical for the 82 games in the regular season. I think the injuries would be up too much. I mean, players would be complaining all that. But I also don't think you can call the playoffs like you do the regular season because the game's going to be so slow. It's going to be won at the free throw line and stuff like that. So I don't know. You have to find a happy medium. But I mean, I'd rather this playoff basketball and physical than I would how they call the regular season ticky-tack for sure.
all right, let's jump into a big comment. And this is, to me, this is the number one reason that everyone's on the Bucks. Why this line keeps moving to the Bucks. Jeff Green isn't doing that again. Not even close. You're right. He's not. I mean, I'll put money down. He doesn't go 7 from 8 and score more than 7 3-pointers and shoot that high percentage. But do you guys really think James Harden's going to shoot that bad again after getting that? So, I mean, isn't it pretty reasonable to think that Jeff Green drops to 3 for 8 or 4 for 8, and then Harden goes from 0 for 8 to 4 for 8, and you get the same amount of production from the team? I mean, it's like we know that Jeff Green's going to regress. We know that Durant will probably regress a little because it was an all-time performance. You have the guy there sitting there that's going to pick it up. And I don't expect Harden to shoot as bad again tonight. But I'll tell you what, Title, it's just, you know what? I had already written off that series as a loss. Then they got ahead and they got my hopes up, right? And that's what really broke my heart. I mean, if they just got blown out like a normal team, I'd be fine backing them to come back tonight. And my concern here is this, right? Even if they're up 15, how do those doubts not creep in when a Jrue Holiday ISO fails? When Chris Middleton's not hitting that contested 17-foot jumper and they're not running any offensive plays, they're not using Giannis in the pick and roll, they're having him ball handle, have 4 people stand out to the side. I mean, I don't know. I just worry about their Bucks and their ability to get it done. But you're here to cheer me up. Tell me why you think the Bucks have a chance tonight or maybe could win.
Yeah, so I want to start with, I mean, you said a really good point. How do the Bucks in quarter 1, quarter 2, when their offense is completely in rhythm, they're making multiple passes, Giannis isn't just coming up and jacking or Jrue playing iso ball. Their offense was rolling. Giannis in the pick and roll. They're getting layups. They're getting good mid-range jump shots. And then when it gets to the third and fourth quarter, I mean, you could tell in the third quarter, start of the third pretty much to the mid. I mean, even when the Bucks were up 14, but the momentum, I mean, it was just slowly, the Bucks were getting worse and worse looks. Kevin Durant was getting better looks. I mean, you could just tell the momentum was getting away. And the more time the game went on, you knew the Bucks they were going to lose it. I just don't have faith. I mean, Coach Bud, obviously, he makes no adjustments at all, which is very concerning. I don't understand. Do you see why they can't run their offense the same way in quarter 1 and quarter 2 as they can in the second half? Or do you think it's the Nets tightening it up a little more and making adjustments too? I mean, I don't know the answer. Do you?
I feel like it's the Bucks getting nervous.
Nervous?
Right? When you get nervous, you go to iso ball. You're maybe not as loose, not as fluid. You know, more worried about making mistakes, more worried about committing turnovers, and it doesn't seem like they trust each other. So, some of it's on the players for not having confidence in themselves, but more of it's on the coach for not installing schemes and plays. I'm watching my team get tight. All they're doing is isoing. Why don't I call a pick and roll? Why don't I use 2 back screens for my shooters? I got Brent Forbes and Pat Connaughton, right? They have a lot of weaknesses as basketball players. I'll take them shooting wide open threes. Yep. I mean, it's not like they don't have the weapons to kind of get this thing going. I mean, you have Brook Lopez, right? If he's going to play the game, why aren't we shooting threes and getting them down low and trying to attack the offensive glass? Why are we not attacking the rim more? Not in isolation settings, off of picks. I mean, it's just so rough to watch. So we'll see tonight. I mean, maybe he makes 5 second half adjustments that we can't believe, but we've been waiting on him to make adjustments for 3 to 4 years, and it still hasn't happened. You know, I mean, it's like asking Kim Kardashian to do calculus. Like, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. What I did like at the end of the game, so the Nets realized they're better without Blake Griffin on the court, which I think most people know that. They finally realized that, and they go really small with Jeff Green at the 5. So, I mean, why Jeff? I mean, Jeff Green's not going to go 6 for 6 and 7 for 7 or whatever it was again. But a lot of those looks were open because why? Brook Lopez was on him. It was a pick and roll. and there's no answer. I mean, you can't switch, otherwise it's Kevin Durant and Brook Lopez, and that's barbecue chicken every time. Yeah. Otherwise, you double a little bit, and then you get it to Jeff Green, and he's open for a three on the pick and pop because Brook Lopez is too slow to close. So that's a big problem. But on the other end, I mean, I can't assume Bud's going to be smart and not play Brook Lopez 30 minutes. He just hasn't shown a reason that to think that he's going to change, unfortunately, which stinks. But at the end of the game, Jeff Green on Giannis without Blake Griffin out there, Giannis can post him up every single time and cause a lot of problems for him. Find the open shooter if they double, take it to his chest. He just has to stay out of foul trouble, which was a big thing in Brooklyn with Giannis, PJ Tucker, and Drew Holiday picking up 2 in the first quarter, which definitely hurt them. Another thing that made no sense to me is I know PJ Tucker had 5 fouls in the fourth quarter, but why did it take you 3 minutes left in the game to finally put him back in on KD? They were running because anytime PJ came in, he makes KD's life as hard as possible. Yes, KD can rise up and get that, but how physical he is, he doesn't let KD get to the spots he wants to. Whereas Middleton and the pick and roll, I mean, PJ's by far the hardest defender to guard KD on this team, and it just took him too long. I mean, he was out 4 minutes too long, and that's when KD got really hot and took over the game. PJ checked in, and KD missed badly on a 3. I mean, PJ has to stay out of foul trouble, and that's why in Milwaukee, with the rest and more of a friendly whistle or lack thereof of a whistle, that the Bucks need that. And I think PJ, he's the biggest key to the series, and I never thought I'd say that. They need him to pretty much match KD's minutes because Middleton's a good defender, but KD's a better offensive player. I know people are talking about Giannis on KD and why isn't he on there and stuff. I do think mixing him in once in a while on KD would be fine, but at the end of the day, KD is just a better all-around basketball player than Giannis, and he knows how to get to his spots, whereas Giannis, PJ Tucker is a better defender on ball than Giannis is on KD at the end of the day. Giannis also has helped defense and recovery to protect the rim is very big, where he can do that on a Blake Griffin or someone else rather than KD when he's on the ball and has to worry about that so much. So I think PJ Tucker is the key in the series. He has to stay out of foul trouble, do what he did in games 3 and 4, and that's the biggest thing for the Bucks.
A couple points on what you said because I agree with it. Number one about PJ Tucker's foul trouble. You know what I loved about this new Timberwolves coach, Chris Finch? It was a game. It was a normal regular season game. Cat got 3 in the first half, and he doesn't take him out, right? And they asked him, hey, so why'd you let Cat play after he had 3 fouls? And he said, well, I'm going to let my player and the refs foul the player out of the game. I'm not going to foul him out, right?
Smart. More coaches. I thought DeAndre Ayton against Jokic, game 2 was it, when he picked up 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes? He didn't take DeAndre Ayton out. He left him in. I mean, you have to trust your player at the end of the day. Yeah, you're taking him out, and he has no chance to do anything. Yeah. I mean, you can't take – I mean, Bogdanović yesterday, it was the same thing. When they were down 25, obviously it somehow worked out, but when they were down 25 and Bogdanović has 3 fouls, what are you saving the fouls for? I mean, you need him in the game. Like, coaches just don't make sense. But at the end of the day, the Bucks have probably the worst coach in the NBA. I mean, I said Stan Van Gundy was the only one that I maybe wouldn't take over Bud. Thankfully, he's gone. But it doesn't make sense. I mean, I thought that was a very sharp point by Minnesota. It reminded me of the Ayton against Jokic, too, when he had 2 fouls and they left him in. Because why? I mean, you need him in to win. You're a better team like that. I didn't understand why Coach Bud didn't do that with Tucker, saving a foul for game 5. I mean, game 6, I mean, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just terrible. And you make a good point. And so I was going to talk to you about Giannis as a help defender, right? And so I'm going back to, regular season doesn't matter. I know Travis, I know JSU if you guys are watching. But so there's a regular season game, and it was the Sixers and the Bucks, right? And they kept doubling Embiid, and Giannis kept stealing Embiid's trying to pass out of the double, right?
Yeah.
So Embiid's sitting there, and he's like, come guard me, Giannis. Come, and he's talking smack to Giannis, right? Everybody knows the reason he wants him to guard him is because he can't deal with them, help out with the doubles. So I agree with you. Everyone, and I was mad too, right? Why is Giannis sitting on the corner on Joe Harris? Okay, that does make sense. But is the answer switching him? Or is the answer doubling not with Giannis and letting Giannis roam and trying to make him either beat the double team, which he probably will. I mean, the dude is just ridiculous. Yeah. And second, at least make him make a decision. Pass out of it. He did a great job of it. he did a great job. I mean, it was just such a performance. I mean, part of me just thinks, I mean, like, what do you do?
That's
like,
why
could Phil Jackson coach past that performance?
That's why at the end of the day, I mean, you look at this number at +6, +185. The Nets are the better basketball team at the end of the day. The Nets are better coached.
The dude.
Exactly. Yep, they have that guy where the Bucks don't have that guy at the end of the game. Yeah. They're better coached, and I don't even think Steve Nash is a very good coach. I think there's a lot of things that he could.
I mean, how could he be? Like, what would he know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
he never was an assistant.
But it's, I mean, just like, I mean, we're seeing things out there like, why is Blake Griffin's played, they finally figured out, but he played way more minutes than he should have in the first half. In the third quarter, he played a lot. They finally realized later in the fourth. But I mean, there's just some things that you watch the game and you can tell, like anybody without coaching experience can see Brook Lopez shouldn't be on the court in this series. They're just picking on him every time down, things like that. But Nash isn't a great coach, but Bud's probably worse. So what? You get a better team in the Nets. You get the better coach. I don't know. I'm not betting it. I don't know. This series is very tough. +6 though, and +185. I see how that's not the. I don't see how that's not the value side today. At the end of the day, but the Bucks are going to come out hot.
It's Nets or pass.
Yeah,
I mean, if you lay 6 with the Bucks and you win the bet and you cash, congratulations. But I don't think it was a good bet.
You take the first half.
The line should be -3.
Yeah, 6 is
so. If we're just doing this normal and home court's 3 points, which it's been so variant through the year, but I'd say at this point of the year it's worth 3. You're telling me the Bucks are 3 points better than the Nets?
Yeah.
Get out of here! No way. At most, it's a pick. Really, the Nets should be 1 or 2 points ahead of them. I mean, I don't know. Hey, so let's tuck some DFS real quick, and then we'll go ahead and give out some plays and get out of here. Our guy Jay, he says, I'm all over Harden, captain MVP. I mean, obviously that's contrarian. What do you think? And like, this is the showdown slate tonight, so it's these really wacky numbers that I'm really not used to dealing with. Would you get down with the Harden MVP, or do you think that's just too wacky?
So Harden MVP, I mean, if he's saying that, he's expecting Harden to be, I mean, Harden played, 43 minutes or something crazy, but he didn't look even close to the 100% Harden. I mean, he didn't drive to the lane. He just settled for step back jumpers. He diverted to KD, which obviously was smart. Mm-hmm. I just don't see him outscoring Giannis or Kevin Durant at the captain spot and being on the optimal lineup. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say no, that's dumb, because if James Harden is healthy, I mean, I don't think he is. You don't think he is, right? Spread. It's hard to watch that game.
He's not. It's so crazy that he's out there. It's just so crazy. I mean, and the fact that he's not getting exploited and played off the floor. It just seems so easy.
That's crazy. I mean, the Bucks are feeding into it. So I don't see how he's going to outscore Giannis or Kevin Durant. Which, I mean, those are the MVPs.
Which one would you go for? Which one would you go for? Because even though we know KD is going to control the game, I'm going to get more rebounds out of Giannis most likely, right? Higher blocks and steals potential. Would you feel safe with doing the Giannis as a captain, or is this just a no-brainer? Take the best player on the court.
No, I'm still going to be Giannis. I think they're going, and also, I mean, so you look at the spread at -6, which Vegas sees. The Bucks, I mean, I'm not running away.
I mean, and DFS doesn't give you more points for the scoring in the last 6 minutes, which is where Durant's going to be better, right? I mean, if we only played the first 36 minutes DFS, you definitely take Giannis, right? If it's just 3-quarter game and the score shut off going into the fourth,
definitely. And the thing is also, if the Bucks are somehow up 16 in the beginning of the fourth or something, would you be shocked to see them just pull KD? Pull Harden and just I mean, KD played every single second of the game. Yeah. I saw what Reggie Miller say, "Oh, would you just rest them and pack up for Game 7?" That's the dumbest tweet I've ever seen.
I picked the Bucks, and I've been posting all this pro Bucks stuff, and that was 10 times dumber than me picking against Kevin Durant. Wow, unbelievable.
Yeah, that was the dumbest thing ever. But at the end of the day, I mean, -6 is pretty hefty. Even though, I mean, we think it's too hefty. But, I mean, if the Bucks are up 16 and 10 minutes left in the fourth, I wouldn't be surprised if they pull KD, pull Harden, all that, give them more rest. Because if you run them out and they lose by 15 or something, they play another 42, 43 minutes. I mean, you'd rather them play 34 if you already know you're pretty much going to lose by 16. I don't know. That's just a little game theory thing. But I'm still over Giannis over KD. coming back home, they're going to need Giannis to win. I mean, Kevin Durant, it's very close. You're not dumb to go either way for sure. I'm going to lean Giannis at captain, though. I think he needs to do a lot for the team, more peripheral stats. But
and I agree with you because, I mean, like I said, the stats in the first quarter count the same as the fourth. So when you're doing DFS, it's a little different than handicapping the game. Sauce Boss has something, and this is something that I brought up earlier. I did the Pickswise show with Jeff Nadeau and Kate Constable today. And my look that I thought might be worth a little punt. I know Tyler likes to go for some of these too. Bookmaker, right? I could get Bucks first half, Nets win full game, plus 650. What do you think of that? What do you think of that idea?
There's a lot of value. I mean, I love it.
I mean, just throw like $100 on it, right? I mean,
plus 650. Yeah, I think that's really, really. I mean, Bucks are going to come out fast. They've came out hard at home both games. It's do or die. They're going to have the crowd behind. It's going to be a big atmosphere. KD just played every minute. The Bucks have to come out hard. Otherwise, I don't see how they don't. So I think Bucks first half makes a lot of sense. Instead of betting -6 even, I would bet the first half number because, I mean,
is -3.5.
Yeah, I'd rather -3.5 than -6 for sure. We've seen the offense flow better earlier in the games, and the later the games go, the more concerning it is. So, but that, and then, I mean, the Nets winning the game. Yeah, the later the game goes, the more KD and them take over. Plus 650, that there's a lot of value on that line, I think.
I mean, my worry for the Bucks is when you lose a game like that, man. I mean, you don't think it's gonna be creeping in your head, even if you're up 15 in the third, right? Failed ISO by Middleton, failed ISO by Drew, right? Giannis bricks a three where there's 10 feet off him. You don't think that these doubts are gonna start to creep in? Like, gosh, that's the baddest man on the planet right here, and like, what are we gonna do?
Giannis even said it in his interview at the end. He said that's the best player in the world.
That's
right
what made me worry. So, and there was different takes on that. I'd love to hear your take on that. Some people said, "Oh, it's fine." You know, he's just saying what we all know. To me, I say, you don't say that.
My take is different. I think he's saying what everyone knows. To be honest, I mean, what KD is I mean, after that performance and how can you say he's not at the end of the game?
He made LeBron run to Twitter and complain about the length of the season because LeBron knew, like, everyone's saying, like, KD's way better than you, bro.
Exactly.
Like, maybe not career, but right now, 2021, he's better.
No, exactly. And Giannis, I mean, he's a humble guy and he says it how he is. I don't think that's saying, like, I mean, I saw a lot of people like, why would Giannis do this? That, I mean, I just think he said a fact at the end of the day, and he saw greatness. Yeah. He accepted greatness. And the thing about the Bucks, though, you don't see their demeanor and, like, they're hanging their heads down, or even after games 1 and 2, like, you didn't see that they ever thought they were out of the series completely. And I haven't seen that from them yet. They still, I mean, they still seem confident and they trust themselves. I mean, I don't know. I that's one thing that I do like. From that take, I saw a lot of people bashing Giannis for it. I just think he said it how he thought it was and how we all see it. I mean, KD is the baddest dude on the planet right now. So
yeah, I just wonder if it gets to be like, Floyd Mayweather fight where, these guys come in all hyped, and by the 5th or 6th round of just getting tagged in the face and not landing anything, you could see the doubt kind of creeping in their minds. I kind of saw the doubt creeping into their minds in that post-game press conference. So anyways, it will be a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, Title, I was hurt emotionally. Like, I'm a Kings fan, so I never get to root for a playoff game. I usually pick a team. Obviously, it's the team that I think is going to win, that presents the best value, throw a future on them, and kind of adopt them for the playoffs. The Bucks were my adopted team this year. Not only did I love the way they played, love the way they defend, we talk about James Harden and Drew Holiday, right? One guy spends all his money on strippers. The other guy's doing church retreats, building houses for homeless people. You know what I'm saying? I mean, like, Drew Holiday is a true role model. Like, if you have a son, you want him to look up to Drew Holiday, not James Harden, right?
Yeah.
Giannis, right? Hey, I could win a title. I could just go down to Los Angeles, right? I could just go to Miami, right? Yeah. No, I want to do it the old-fashioned way, the way that I grew up on, right? So I like this team, not only the way they play basketball, but just for the type of people that they are. And so I've got a little emotionally invested. Maybe it's not. It's inhibiting my ability to handicap here. so I got to give that disclaimer. But thank you for coming on. So I'm rooting for the Bucks tonight. I don't know if I believe in them. Hopefully they get me to believe. But let's go ahead. I haven't seen him in the chat today. But Greg Russo, always give you shouts. Best bet segment. What are you thinking? What do you think is the best bet for this evening?
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally I'm not going to bet anything because I do think the Nets is a value. I'm going down. I'll either be in the Deer District or the game. It depends if I can talk my friends into spending a little cheese and seeing what the prices are before. But I can't. I mean, I thought game three, I did do it. I did bet the Nets, and I thought they were the value side again. I mean, it was what plus
Yeah.
145. They were down 30-11 in the first quarter, and same thing happened in game three where the Nets just slowly kept coming back, and the longer the game goes on, the Bucks struggle to score. I mean, my favorite bet actually is that I mean you can't get it everywhere, but Bucks first half and Nets Nets for the game at plus 650. I'll say that's my favorite bet because I think that I think the Bucks do win the first half. I think they do come out strong, and I think the longer the game goes, the tougher it'll be. But I don't know. I do think at the end of the day, I think the Bucks they find a way to pull it out and push game 7. But -6, there's no way I'm betting -6. The value side's the Nets. There's no other way around it. But I do think the Bucks do get it done. I don't know. That's a little biased in my heart telling me that, but I think the rest let him play a little bit. I think PJ he steps up. I don't know though. I'm not betting this series, but my favorite bet is what you said. It's the Bucks. It's the Bucks first half. It's the Nets plus 650. That number is too good to pass up. If you can bet that for me, I'll throw you 100. If you're not limited, and if you can get that in for me, I'll definitely do that.
Okay, I'll put it in right now. I already got one for myself. I'll do it one more time here.
Awesome.
And,
send me your Venmo or PayPal on Discord.
I will do that right afterwards. And guys, so yeah, I'm gonna do the same. This is kind of like a thrown together show. Like I put it out on Twitter yesterday. Was pretty disappointed, and you know. I've been going at this pretty hard, right? You know, originally we did the rundown. It was 6 days a week. Then I had Sundays off. Then I got the opportunity to spread the word of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets on the Pickswise show. You know, new audience and new people to let them know what we got going on over here, the type of information they can receive when they come to this channel. So I had to take advantage of that opportunity. But going 7 days a week has definitely been wearing me down. I was going to take today off. But title, I mean, after last night, how could you not come on and want to talk NBA, right?
You're the man of the people. Everyone loves these rundown shows. We watch them all. I mean, very sharp knowledge you give out. And then talking JSU, Mango, and Tyler. I mean, he's killing it with props and very sharp guy. We always love hanging it, talking. So every time
I appreciate you coming on because it was like I got a good night's sleep. I woke up and I said, we got to get our opinions out. You know, we got to just talk NBA, you know, and just talk shop, even if we don't give out plays. I mean, just so much happened last night. It was just so wild. The fact that the Sixers blew it. And then the Clippers, who we had written off for dead, right? Led by Paul George. I mean, talk about wacky storylines, right? Paul George is the best player on the floor, just completely destroying in the playoffs. So I appreciate you for coming on. Guys, I didn't mention it, but remember, this is the Run Pure Bets YouTube channel. If you're not already, and you probably are, but go ahead, subscribe to the channel. You'll get access to the PGA shows, the Joey Works Major League Baseball shows, Titletown, you do on the Run Pure Sports channel, the MMA shows. We have MMA shows on this one as well. On titles, he's going to tell you who to take on DraftKings. On this one, we're just going to tell you who to bet on Bookmaker, FanDuel, DraftKings, wherever you use. So we got all types of different content here to try and help you make these picks and grab these winners. So title, short notice, man. I just sent you a message when I got up at 7. Say, hey, you know what? I'm feeling better. Got a good night's sleep. I got a rock star. And watching the Sixers meltdown made me realize, hey, it could be worse.
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, I thought it couldn't get worse than the Bucks.
I really didn't. But then I said, well, at least it was a historic performance. I mean, Trae Young was good, but that wasn't 48 minutes, 47, 17, 10. 48 minutes is what topped it for me.
And the thing is, though,
he's going to wear down.
He didn't even look gassed, and that's what I'm worried about in game. Like we look at Giannis's minutes, and which are up there. Giannis 42 minutes, Middleton 45, and all that. I'm more concerned with that than I am KD's 48 minutes. He looked, I mean, his post-game interview too, he didn't even look like he was huffing and puffing. This guy's in, he's locked in, and that's a scary KD. Yeah. And I mean, I'm on the Suns. Your team in the futures was the Bucks. I'm on the Suns to win it all. I mean, this Chris Paul
It's looking great for him. It's first of all, that Chris Paul, the most he misses is one game. The most he misses is one game. He's already vaccinated, and the whole point of the vaccine, and a little people don't understand, it reduces the symptoms.
Yeah.
So he should be able to get out quick. the Phoenix Suns led the league in between players and staff in vaccinations. So
Oh wow, I didn't
I
know
don't
that.
see any way that I don't
That's why I
see any
hope.
way he misses more than one game.
That's why I hope it goes 7-2. Give
But
him a
who knows?
little.
I'm not a doctor, right?
Yeah, but that's just. I mean, the Suns are playing. I think that's my pick to win it all. Unless it's like fully healthy Kyrie, which that definitely didn't look good. But if Kyrie, Harden, and KD are all healthy, that this team's going to be really tough to beat. But I hope it's Suns.
Well, I don't
hope
think
it's
we're getting
Suns
Kyrie the
Bucks.
rest of the year, do we?
No, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's definitely not this series. Probably isn't next series. I mean, yeah, he came down hard. I don't know. I mean, it's so far out for the championship. I don't know, but I hope it's Suns Bucks. But if it's Suns Nets or something, I hope the Suns get it done. I love this team.
Yeah. Well, my prediction when we did because I think you were on, we did a pre playoff show, before the playoffs even tipped, and
Yeah,
I picked Bucks Clippers, right?
yeah.
I was feeling pretty smart after game 4.
Hey, you still could. It's still live.
I know,
I mean,
it now feels like the Clippers have better chance than the Bucks. Unbelievable here. So who knows what's going on? But hey, thanks again for coming on. We'll bring you back next week. We're either going to be celebrating wearing our Milwaukee gear, and you're going to be turning up, for another great thing, or we can shed some tears, and then maybe we'll speculate on who the proper coach would be for this group because regardless of the result, it's not him.
yeah.
He's a floor raiser. You know where we'll take Bud? We'll take him in Sacramento. You know what he does? He gets crappy teams to make the playoffs. I would love that. Bud, come to Sacramento.
Take them.
You won't have to worry about melting down in the playoffs. We don't make the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey, that's
and
fair.
even if you do, there's no expectations, right? I mean, if you get stomped by the Jazz or the Suns in the first round, nobody's going to care. It's not like you're ruining, this generational talent that we have in Giannis. So, we'll go ahead and take him, and then you guys can go ahead and get someone hopefully to get you to the next level. And I said this on Jeff's show this morning. Why are we hiring coaches over 50? The game has changed more in the last 10 years than it did from 1965 to 1995.
And it's not only that. I mean, NBA. I think it's NFL. I mean, the
NFL's
younger
the
guys.
Same way. Yeah, only baseball's the same.
It's all analytics and how the pace of play. The game's changed. Like you couldn't have said any better. You don't hire guys, general managers for that matter, any of that. It's the young bucks that see it.
When you get over 50, you should be an assistant with a younger guy that can do it. Like, for example, if you and I were to coach, I'd say, Title, you be the head coach because you can talk to these guys. Like, you listen to the same music. You grew up with the internet. I didn't grow up with the internet. I don't know what it's like to be like these guys where they're getting likes and all this stuff from age 8 or whatever, but I can sit here and I can tell you stuff. Well, hey, back then, this is what happened. This is what we did.
Yeah.
And help you make your choice. But I think that when these coaches get older, they should be assistants. Like, I think Van Gundy could be a fine assistant. So I hope that we start seeing some of these younger coaches head to the league because the league changed too much. Doc Rivers championship in 2009, like what does that even have to do with anything? When the game was ran through the post and you had Kevin Garnett, how does that help you with this team?
Exactly. I mean, I don't think there's very many good coaches in the NBA, and I think the best coach is Monty Williams, and he's not necessarily young, but I mean, him and Chris Paul,
young enough to where they
bond.
He can relate. He can relate with them better than like Mike D'Antoni's name been thrown around. How is a 70-year-old going to talk to these kids?
Yeah, I don't know.
He grew up before answering machines. When he grew up, if you called someone, the phone just rang. And that was it. You call back a half hour later. I mean, and now these kids are growing up, and we have access to each other at all times, 24/7. Like they grew up, and their parents can push a button and know where they are. It's not even the same world. So,
no.
Title, thanks for coming on. Go Bucks. We made that bet, and hopefully it loses. Hopefully it loses, and we get a game 7, and these guys get it done for us for doing it the right way. And that's right. I'm a guy that supports, churches and charity over strip clubs and little baby. So that being said, thanks for hanging out, Title. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, head over to runpurebets.com. Promo code BETS25 off to join the movement. Thank you.